Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Zhengkong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. Homage to Master and Master Dubten Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of the group practice this evening, Amitabha Tathagata of Sukawati. Sumu Tanchen Gatso Tutan City. All Dhamma masters, Dhamma educators, Dhamma teachers, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good evening, everyone. How do you do? All these greetings in different languages.
Hola amigo. Te quiero mucho. Skoin. Ichiwa. Kimochi. Jumi. Yabi. Puri puri. Konbanwa. 那今天我们是同修。
Today,
阿弥陀佛
we had the group practice of Amitabha Buddha.
那在修行的过程之中，在修法的过程之中啊。
And during the practice,
师尊也是。 精神统一。
Grandmaster was also single-minded in concentration, practicing. Therefore, I closed my eyes, nodded my head, but did not drool.
跟大家一起修法，你们点头的意思是说你们修得不错。
So I nodded my head, indicating that your practice went well.
大家都修得很好。
Everybody did the practice really well.
修法的过程当中啊。
But during the practice.
你们有念阿弥陀佛的咒吗？
Did you chant Amitabha mantra?
我忘掉数念珠。
I forgot to count the mala beads.
直到这个你们念长寿佛的咒，我才开始数念珠。
I started to use my mala chanting beads when you chant that. Longevity Buddha. That's also a kind of practice too. Recently, last night,
我是3点吧，晚上3点才上床睡觉。
I got on bed at 3 a.m. 3 a.m. It's getting later and later.
可能是老人家动作就慢下来，什么都慢。
And perhaps things are slowing down as we age.
什么时间过得特别快。
It's just so strange that time flies. Like right away, it's 3 a.m. already. And when I get up in the morning, and then it's already 10:40 before I started writing my book. So my writing time has shortened too. So what should I do? I saw an article written by a disciple and I just included it. And then I just added an annotation at the end. And wrote a poem and annotated it. So my article today was done very fast. So in old age, everything slows down, and time flies. Everything passes so quickly. And now I'm getting late in everything. Not before. When I was younger, I was very punctual, always on time. Whatever time was specified, I would always be 5 minutes early. 5 minutes early, especially for dating. But nowadays, I'm always late. So I feel I think there's a song called like When I'm Old. I've written an article that when I'm old, and because I found it to be how I am, so I just included it. Everything has slowed down. Strictly speaking, and people have retired long ago. My age, over 10 years ago, I should have retired. Especially for the public worker. For like civil servants. So they retire at 65, but I am 78 already. So it's not easy to be a monk. It's a lot harder than anybody else. You know, you think it's easy to be a monk, but a monk never retires in their deliverance of sentient beings. So if you see me falling asleep on the Dharma throne, please forgive me. Really. I don't have a break, not even on Saturdays and Sundays. The whole year, no break. And during the pandemic this past years, I've been in Seattle. I give spiritual consultation every single day, including Saturdays and Sundays. I've never taken a break, even on the weekends. People who got COVID got a break. They rested for 2 weeks. But as for me, have I ever taken a break at all? Never. Never. day in, day out, year in, year out, every single day, no break.
人家可以去 vacation， 那个老外最重视。
People go on vacation.
这3年来
especially
我连去
the
超
foreigners.
市逛一下超市都没有。
But as for me, I don't even go shopping, or the grocery shopping.
那个西雅图雷藏寺，彩虹雷藏寺。
I just go from home to the Seattle Temple to the Rainbow Temple. That's it. Between these 3 places. Among these 3 places.
然后我们今天是修这个阿弥陀佛法啊。
So today we practice Amitabha Buddha Dharma
我曾经
practice.
问维摩诘一个问题。
Amitabha Buddha is my yidam. Once I asked Vimalakirti,
为什么西方极乐世界
why
跟我们娑婆世界
Sukhavati
不可以随便去？我今天想
how
去西
come
方
people
极乐世界，
cannot
我就去西
go
方极
back
乐
and
世界。
forth between
娑婆世界的
Sukhavati and
人想要
Samsara?
到西方极乐世界，就到西方极乐
Say
世界。
people in
西
Samsara
方极乐
can
世
go
界的
to
人
some
想到娑
Sukhavati
婆世界，
anytime they like,
当然是可以
and
来。
vice versa. Of course,
但是有
beings
的
in
也不能来，有
Sukhavati
些
can
众生
come
也
to
不能
Samsara,
够，
but not all of them.
也不能够来娑婆世界。
Some of them cannot come as they like.
他说，维摩诘
And Vimalakirti replied,
他说，因为是结界的关系。
that's because of the boundary protection.
我跟维摩诘讲说，你骗人。
And I told
那么
Vimalakirti,
西方
you
极乐
lie.
世界的众生，为什么他
The
犯
beings
时
in
心情之中
Sukhavati
可以胜众妙法？啊，装着众妙法，
they
这个
can
游行十方佛国，
have
去
the
供养所有
marvelous
的大菩萨。
Dharma and make offerings to all the
佛经
great
是不是有提到
bodhisattvas
这个？
across all Buddha verses or Pure Lands.
他可以到
Wasn't it
十
mentioned
方
in the
的
sutras?
佛国去供养所有的佛菩萨。
So those beings can go to all the Pure Lands in the 10 directions to make offerings to
那
the
个
Buddhas and
维摩诘讲，
bodhisattvas.
那是因为
And Vimalakirti
西
responded,
方极乐世界
that's
跟其
because
他的净土
between
都
Sukhavati
是，
and the
都有
other
结
Pure
界，
Lands,
只是他们是对等的。
they all
可以
have
互相
boundary
来
protection, but they're on the equal footing, so they
如果
can
不对等的，
come and
不能
go
够互相来往。
between them. But if they
娑
are
婆
not
世界的众生
on equal
想要到西
footing,
方极乐世界，
then beings
没有那么
cannot come
自由。
and go easily.
那是不对的。
So it's not so free for the beings from samsara to go
对
to
等的，
Sukhavati, because
他
they are
就没
not
有
on
结
an
界。
equal
虽然有结界，但是
realm.
也可以来往。
But among the Pure Lands, they're on an equal
一个很简单
state,
的比喻。
equal footing. So although they have boundary protection, they can come and go.
有些国家
Among
免
them
签证，
You know,
我只
as
要
an
有这个国家
analogy,
的，
some countries,
我就可以到免签证的所有的国家去走。
you don't need visas from
但是
some
有些
countries
国
to
家
certain
是你
countries.
不能够去的，你拿这个护照便不能
And
够到
yet,
那个国家
with
去。
this passport,
你一定
there
要
are
签了
certain
证，
countries
你
that
才
you
能够
cannot
进那个
go. You need to get the
就是这个
visas.
道理。
But for some other countries, you don't need visas to visit them. That's the same concept.
所以维摩诘跟我讲，
So
他说你修
Vimalakirti
行
told
到你的
me,
程度到了，
if you cultivate spiritually
你
and
任
reach
何
a
一个
certain level,
世界你都可以去。
then you can go to any realm.
就是时无来去，
So you
实在
don't
是
come
没
and
有来，
go,
也
actually.
没有去，
no coming and no going. That's the highest realm. Actually, in the highest realm, there's no coming and no going. But you are able to go, not the universe, but all the realms in the spatial dimension. You can go according to your wishes. So listening to that explanation, I understood. So you need to be on an equal footing, you know, to the wisdom of the equality or the wisdom of the Dharma nature, the Dharma realm nature, the nature of Dharma realm. Then you can no coming and no going, and you can come and go, all of them. And that is called Ren Yun, which is spontaneous activities according to your following the courses of nature. So, in the Amitabha Sutra, I asked Vimalakirti why those beings can make offerings of marvelous Dharma to all the beings in all the Buddha verses. That's because of the wisdom of the nature of equality. That's talking about Amitabha Buddha, which is the practice tonight. Let me share a joke. The teacher asked Xiaoming to go outside the class. So your homework is getting worse and worse. What's going on? So Xiaoming replied, I will let you know in the afternoon. Let me find out the reason, okay? And the teacher said, sure. So in the afternoon, the teacher called Xiaoming again and asked, have you found the reason? And Xiaoming replied, yes. That's because my grandpa said the homework is getting harder and harder. He did not have the ability to do it. So that joke is about replacement. But in spiritual cultivation, there is no replacement. It's like, oh, I do it for you. Just like eating. Can I say that I eat for you, then you don't need to eat, I eat it for you? No such thing. You cannot represent someone else to eat. The same with spiritual cultivation. You cannot cultivate spiritually on behalf of someone. A patient help someone from drowning, and the doctor said, oh, you did a good job. But then that person was hanged and died, or hanged themselves and died. And yet the mental patient was very satisfied and saying that I tried to dry him. So if you encounter a mental patient, that you should avoid them, because you cannot reason with them. There are more and more mentally disordered people in this society nowadays.
小明的一个女同事看了看小明，
Xiaoming's
突然
female
有感而
colleague
发。
was
小明
looking
啊，
at
你很
Xiaoming
特
and
别。
then said, Xiaoming, you're
通
very
常我
special.
看男人是越
Normally,
看越讨
when
厌，
I see a
只有你不
man,
是。
and the more I see them,
小明非常高兴。
the more I dislike them.
莫非
But not
你已
you.
经爱上我？
And Xiaoming was very pleased. So, are you
他的
falling
女
in
同
love
事
with
讲
me?
不是，
And she
我
replied,
看你第
no.
一眼就很讨厌。
It says, I despise you from the first time I see you.
不用越看越讨厌，第一眼就已经讨厌。
Not gradually, but right away, from the very beginning.
我们进入主题。
Now we'll get on to
马
the
来
main
西亚
topic.
莲花珠珠，
A
问
question from Malaysia, Lian Hua
顶
Zhu
礼
Zhu.
根本传承上师，我跟家人全都
Homage
学不
to
会
our
禅定，
lineage root
与
guru.
本尊合一。我也
And
只
my
有在
family
假
and
日才
I
能够修法。
could not meditate
如
and
果
be
我
in
们死
union
的
with the
时候，
Yidam.
因为修
I
行
only
不足，
practice during the
而
holidays.
业障未清，
So
需要
at
轮
the
回。
time of death, if
请问师
because
尊，
our spiritual cultivation
瑶池
is
金母会否
insufficient
慈
and
悲
our karma has
体
not
谅
been
我们曾
cleared,
经有诚
we will
心
be
努
reincarnated.
力学习修
So
行，
my question is,
而
would
依然
Grandmaster
愿
and
意
Golden
接引
Mother
我们去
be
西方极
kind
乐世
and
界呢？ 祈
forgive
求
us
师
due
尊
to
金母
our
怜悯
mind,
不舍去，
due to our that we had once cultivated to still
他
guide
的问
us
题
to
是说，
Sukhavati.
当他们修行还不够
So
力
the
的时候，
question is that when they have not gained enough
是不是
power through their spiritual
佛菩
cultivation,
萨、瑶池金母可以
will the
接引他
Buddhas
们
and
到了净土？
Bodhisattvas, the Golden Mother,
简单的问题就是
guide
这个样子。
them to the Pure Lands? That's
修行的时间不够，不够精进，
summarize it.
也很少有时间可以修，
So
是
they're not
偶尔修一下
diligent,
但是诚
they
心
don't
还是有。
have power, and they don't have time to
是
do
不是这
it,
样也能够接引？
and yet they have the intent
意
and
思是这样。
sincerity. In such case, will they be guided to the
我
Pure
们按
Land
照
still?
那个阿弥陀经
That's
的
what she
说法，
meant, I think. And
在
according
念
to
佛
Amitabha
的时候
Sutra, when you chant the
其
name
实
of
他
Amitabha
没有讲说
Buddha,
念很久，
it did not
只要
say
你对
that you
阿弥
have
陀
to
有
do it
信
for a
心，
long time. But as long as you
第
have
7日，
faith in Amitabha Buddha,
1天到7天之间，
so you do it between
你能
1
够
to
一心
7
不乱，
days. If you can be
持
totally
名念
single
佛，
minded
就是念他的名字而已，
and focus
心不散
on
乱。
chanting his name, that's it.
那
And you
平
have
时
no
啊，你要
distraction
做到这个
whatsoever.
也要有福德，有你的
But
福分。
generally,
有
in
了
order
福
to
德，
achieve
你
that,
才
you
能够
need
做
to
到这样
have
子。
enough merit and blessings in order to do it, to be able to do it.
在很短的时间之内，
In a very short
阿弥
time,
陀佛也能够来接引你。
Amitabha Buddha can also come and
按
guide
照
you.
经典所说的就是这个样子了，必须要自己有一
That's
些福德，
according to the sutra. First, you need to have
诸恶
enough
莫作，
merit and
众善
blessings
奉行，
that you
这不
always
就是
do
福德
good,？avoid all evils. That's merits
1
and
到7
virtues.
天，你只要持他的名字，到了一心不乱，
You chant his
专一的。
name only
一
from
心不
1
乱，
to
简单的
7
讲，就
days
是专一，你很专
single-mindedly
一的持，
in full concentration
他
and
就能
totally
够来接
focused.
引。
Then he would come and guide you to the Pure Land.
所以讲起来也是很简单。其实我们不用
So
花
it
很多
seems
的时间。
simple. You
你
don't need
最
that
简
much
单的
time.
就是净土中
The simplest
你虽然
method
不能
is that of
每
the
天
Pure
修
Land
修
sect.
法，每天怎么样？
If
像
you
我们密
cannot
教，
practice
它
every
只要
day,
讲起来要
like
到相应，当然
Tantric
是
Buddhism,
有些人是很困难。
of course, it's very difficult for some
但是
people
你
to
只
gain
要能
spiritual
够
union.
保持你
However,
心不散乱，
if you can maintain
行
single-mindedness,
为光明，
no distraction or chaotic
那你保持你心的那
mind
个
or
光明，
thoughts and maintain the clear light
一
radiance
直
in
祈
your
求
heart
本尊，
mind
都会来接引。
and continually pray to the Yidam, they would come and guide you to the Pure
这个
Lands.
倒是有一个界定的哈，应该是有一个界定的，不能说
So
心
they
很散乱
are
啊，平时也是修法，
levels.
就礼拜天才修
So
一
we
下。
can say that
但是心
usually
很
you're
虔诚，
very
你给它分散，
unfocused
也
and
就是说
then
一
you don't
天
practice
修
and
一
just you
点点，
just do it
每天都修。
during the holidays, and it cannot be
但是
like
你就是
that. But
修个，
you can practice a little bit, but every
你
day.
再不行，你念个本尊咒也行啊，
So if you can't do the
再不行，
practice, you
你
can
称
just
名也
chant
行啊，
the heart
念他的
mantra
本
of the
尊的名
Yidam.
也行啊。
Or if you can't do that, you can just chant his name
啊，师尊白
or
天
their
很
name.
忙，但是我
Like
白天
Grandma
的
is
时
very
候啊，
busy during the day.
我每天一定要念一遍
But
《
even
高王经》。我念的《
in
高王经》真的是一
it
心不
doesn't
乱，
matter how busy I am, I always chant the Hiking Avalokitesvara
每一
Sutra.
个佛的
And when I
名字
chant it, I'm
绝
totally
对从我
single-minded.
心中流过，
So each of the
每一个菩
Buddhas
萨
and
的名字绝
Bodhisattvas'
对从
name
我心中
would
流过。
definitely pass through my heart and mind.
是我们每天要做的。
And I do it every day.
那超度修法，晚上的超度修法那不用讲，
And the nightly Bardo deliverance and Dhamma practice for
那
sure.
也是一心不乱的在做。
And I always do
我
it
并不是说常常
single-mindedly
每一
with
天
full
呢，
concentration.
任何一个时候都是但虽然我自己本身的话也不是很多，我不会那个碎碎念，
Although I
不会
don't
碎
talk
碎念，嘴巴
that
一直在
much,
念或怎么样。
that
其
I
实我安静的
continually
时候就很安
talk,
静，
you know, I can
应
be
该
very
讲话的时候
quiet,
就讲，
but
应
if
该讲
when
话
I
的时
should
候我
talk,
很
I
安静，
do
也
talk.
不太讲
But
话。
when I don't need to talk, I'm very quiet. I don't like to talk that much.
可是我做事都是很专一的。
But in whatever I do,
所
I'm
以
very
专一啊，
focused.
这个维摩诘讲，
So therefore,
Huh?
Vimalakirti
你
says,
们还在修禅定呢，
you're still practicing
就是
meditation?
很高的那个说法。你们这样修禅
That's a
定
very
不对的
profound statement. It's wrong to
啊？为什么
practice
不修禅
meditation.
定呢？我现在修禅定
Why?
要入定呢，
Shouldn't
进
we
入定
practice
中啊，
meditation?
然后再出定呢
We？have to meditate, enter the
他说这样不
meditation
对，
and exit
维
from
摩
the
诘经会讲
meditation.
到。
But Vimalakirti says that's wrong.
维摩诘
It
认
would be
为，
stated in the Vimalakirti
你做
Sutra.
任何事情在都很专一，
Vimalakirti
就是禅定。
regards that if you are single-minded and totally focused in whatever you do,
所以
that
每天
is
要找出一
meditation.
个，你要做事情就是很认真、
Therefore,
很
every
精进，
day, whatever
然后
you
很专
do,
一的去
you
做，
should be
不
very
能够散漫。这就
conscientious
是每一天都是在做禅定，
and with the best effort.
任何时候
You
你都
cannot
是在禅
be
定，
haphazard and random and
这才
casual.
是真正的
That
禅
would
定。
be meditation. That
他说：“
is
难道
a
你
true
做禅定，
meditation.
你
So
进
at
入
any
定中
time
跟
you are
本
in
尊合一？
meditation.
好了，
Because he said,
那
okay,
是相
you
应的。
enter meditation,
那
you're
你
in
出定
union
呢？
with Yidam,
那本
that's
尊就
spiritual
离开你
union.
了吗？
But when you exit from meditation, does it
那
mean
你就
that the
变成凡
Yidam
夫俗子
abandon
了。
you? Then you become just an ordinary mundane being then.
所以维摩诘讲的，你要注意哦。
So pay attention to what Vimalakirti says. This sutra is truly meaningful. The so-called meditation is you are doing your best, diligent and single-minded in whatever you do. So it's not about entering and exiting from meditation, saying like enter samadhi and then exit from samadhi and chant the praise. So as if when you're in meditation, you're in union with yidam, but when you exit from meditation, the yidam goes away and you return to being a mundane person. No. That's the teaching of Vimalakirti. So the answer to Lianhua Zhu from Malaysia. So in whatever you do, you want to visualize union with your yidam. And not in spiritual cultivation, you visualize you're in union with the yidam in whatever you do, and you're totally single-minded and focused. That would be called spiritual cultivation. So whatever you do is proper, correct, and you have no bad thoughts whatsoever. In such case, you are definitely would be guided to the Pure Land by the yidam. So you need to understand the method of spiritual cultivation. You need to know what spiritual cultivation is all about. Although you have no time, you're extremely busy, but first you visualize that you're together with the yidam, and then you do whatever you do seriously or with great conscientiously. So that's different from a typical Dhamma practice. A typical Dhamma practice, you sit there and you follow the practice procedure one by one, and then after you exit from meditation, you feel like, okay, that's it, and you're free. But Vimalakirti says, no, that's wrong. You need to be in union with the yidam at any time, the yidam, the main deity. Only that is the real spiritual cultivation. So spiritual cultivation is not sitting in your altar. No, not only that. We should understand this, right?
所以你只要观想你本尊跟你合一，而你自己变成本尊，那么你认真做事情。
As long as you visualize you're in union with the yidam, and then you do whatever you do seriously, and with the best effort and with total concentration, then that's spiritual cultivation. So that's my answer to Lianhua Zhu from Malaysia. So first you visualize the union with your yidam, and then you do whatever you need to do. The wife got a driver license, and the husband said, "Oh, you got a driver license? Let me take you to look at some cars." And the wife brought the husband brought the wife to look at all the luxury cars, Rolls-Royce, Benz, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Lamborghini, Ferrari, all this
老婆非常感动，
expensive
差一点流泪，
course.
心里想
And
这一生真的没有白嫁。
the wife was so touched, and
唱
she
完出来
thought,
以后啊，老公就讲
oh,
了，
I married the
老
right
婆你看见没
person.
有？这些都是很名贵
But
的事。
afterwards,
将来你开车啊，不要撞
the
到狗
husband
车。
said, you know, pay attention to
因为我
this
们
course so that in the future when you drive, never ever,
不是
never
买啊，
ever
是叫他看这些车，你将来开车不
hit
可以
this
撞这些
course
车。
because it's too expensive for us to handle it, to deal with it. So he brought her to check
人都有
on the
烦恼，每一
course
个人
to
都有
let her
烦恼。
know not to buy them.
这
Everybody
句话也
has
很有道理。
worries and
人
troubles.
在饥饿的时候，
This
他
makes
只
a
有一
lot
个
of
烦恼，
sense. When someone is
他就想要吃
famished
饱。
or really hungry,
可是，一旦
they
吃
only
饱，
have one
就
affliction.
会有
They
无数
just
个
want
烦
to
恼。
eat. But once they have enough
这
food,
烦恼的
then
原
they
因是
have
什么呢？
countless
就
afflictions.
是吃饱了太闲，
So the cause of afflictions is
假
that
霸心严，假霸心严，
that
才去烦恼。
you have nothing to do after having enough to eat.
今天会讲到，今天会讲到。
We will talk about this later.
让所有男人感到兴趣的5大神器啊，一是豹纹，豹。
Things
那个
that
好像豹的这
excite
个
man is
纹
a leopard
第二个
tattoo,
是短裙，
miniskirt,
不能再短，女生穿不能再短的裙子。
as short as possible.
第三，
3,
玻璃丝袜，玻璃丝袜。
the glass
第四个，
stockings,
长筒
which is
的
very
鞋子。
thin stockings.
第5个，钢管。
And then
它怎么
a
讲？
high
就是让男人
boots
感到兴趣。
and a dancing pole.
像这5大集合起来，
And combining these 5,
只有一个人会有。这
there's
个人
only
就
one
是孙悟
person
空。
is only one person has all 5 of them, and that's the Monkey
让
King.
女人感到兴趣的也有5种。
And
第一个，
there are also
他的
5
身
things that
价非
excite
常的高。
women. Is that
第
they
二个，
have
这个
very
男人非常的霸气。
high worth.
第三个，
Second, they're
令你有
very
安全
man.
感。
Third, give you a
第
sense
四
of
个，能够
security
保护你。
and
第
can
5个，
protect
对
you
你专一。
and to be
这个
fidel,
让女人
like
感到有兴趣。唯
completely
一符
faithful
合
to
这个
you.
条件的也只有一个，
And
那就
only
是
one
西
is
藏的獒
qualified for
犬。
that. And that's the Tibetan Mastiff.
这算笑话吗？
Is that a joke?
刚刚我讲过了。
I've told
孙悟
this
空呢，
before.
问那个
Monkey
交通
King
警察，
Asks the
请问西天怎么走？ 上西
police
天怎么走？
traffic officer, the traffic
警
officer.
察对孙悟空讲：
So how do I
你
get
看
to
到
the
红
West
灯的
Heaven?
时候闯过去就到。
And the policeman
就马上
said,
到西天。
just pass through a red light, then you would go to the Western Pure Land immediately.
好了，我们进入主题哈。
Now we'll get to the main topic.
这一句
This
在所有的句
phrase
子当中是最
of
难解释。
all the other phrases, of
我这
all
样
the
子认为，
phrases, this
别
is the
人
hardest to
认为可能
explain.
很好解释，就这一
That's
句
my
最难。
opinion, but maybe not others.
尽无等等，
they nearly equaled the wisdom of self-mastery,
不共
10 powers, the 4 fearlessness, and the 18 uncommon characteristics of the unequaled Buddhas.
大家看了这一句，我们不看别句，就看这一句。
So let's just look at this
尽
sentence.
无等等，佛自
They
在会。
nearly equal the wisdom of self-mastery, the 10 powers, the 4 fearlessness, and the 18 uncommon characteristics of the unequaled Buddhas.
这句话啊，
Or asamasana.
我简单跟大家翻译。
Let me simply interpret it for
这
you.
些大菩萨
This great Bodhisattva's spiritual cultivation
已经接近了，他要
has
成佛。尽无等等，佛自在
is
会。
very close to Buddhahood.
这些大菩萨修行已经快接
They
近
nearly
接近成佛。
they are very near to Buddhahood, very
尽
close to
无等
Buddhahood,
等，
nearly
是
equal
应该讲
the
尽
unequaled one.
英文是怎么讲 ？almost。
So in English we
我
say
经常这
almost.
个在牛排馆啊，你要牛排要
At
多
the
少
steakhouse, when they ask me
？almost well done。
how would you like it
Medium
cooked, I
well.
would say almost well
Medium
done,
well.
medium well
almost well
to
done。
almost well done.
接近全熟，但其实还有一点生。
So
Almost
almost well
well
done, but there's a little bit of
这 almost 你接近快要成
rareness.
佛，就是
So
菩
almost
萨的第十地
you're very close to
等觉
Buddhahood.
等觉。
And this is the 10th ground
等
of
觉它接
Bodhisattvahood.
近于
It's called
已经
the
觉悟了，
awaiting
觉悟了就
realization.
是佛嘛，觉者嘛，佛就是
Because
觉者嘛，
the Buddhas are
已经
called
接
the
近
awakened and realized one.
觉悟了，
So
所以
they're
成为
very
第十地就是
close
等觉。
to the awakened one or the realized one.
这
That's
华
why
严
the
地，
10th
华严地就接
ground
近
is
成
called the awaiting
已经
Buddhahood
得到
or
自
the
在的智
ground
慧，
of Dharma cloud.
就是尽
So
无
they
等
have
等
gained the wisdom
佛
of
自
self-mastery,
在会。
of the
另外，
unequaled one.
佛本身有实力，你
And
们
the
看那
Buddhas
个
also have the 10
实惠就
powers.
有，它也会实
You
实
can
力，
check
它
the
就会解释得
dictionary
很清
about
楚。
the 10
另外还有
powers.
四无畏，四
And
种无
also
畏。
the 4 fearlessness.
另外，佛还有18不共法。
And the Buddhas also have the
其实，
18
在
uncommon
果地没有分那么清楚，
characteristics.
在因地
So
因
in the
才分那么
ground
清楚。
of
什么叫做佛的实力？
fruition, they're
什
not
么叫做
divided
佛的四无畏？
distinctly, but
什么
in
是
the
佛
ground
的
of
18不共法？
cause, they're divided. So what
这个
are
茶
the
实会都有。
10 powers, the 4
会都有。
fearlessness, and the 18
那今
uncommon
天呢，我
merits?
讲
And you can find
什
it
么是四
in
无
the
畏？
dictionaries.
我先挑个四无畏，四无畏跟菩萨是
So
以前
let
所讲的
me
四无畏不
talk
太一样。
about the 4 fearlessness first.
第一个是
This is
智无畏，
different from the 4 fearlessness I talked about before. The
智慧
first
的
one
智无畏，
is the fearlessness due to
一个
wisdom.
是苦无畏，
One
苦
is the
啊，痛苦
fearlessness
的
of
苦，苦
suffering.
无畏。再来是一个是烦恼无畏，
The next one is the
烦恼无畏。
fearlessness
简单的讲，
of
无畏
afflictions.
烦恼，障碍无畏，
And the fearlessness of
障碍无
hindrances.
畏，很多障碍。我们在修行过
Many
程中很多障碍。
hindrances. Throughout
This is
our
大
spiritual
菩萨，
cultivation, we
不怕那
encounter
些
many
障碍，
hindrances, but the great
不
bodhisattvas
怕
are not
烦恼，
afraid of those
无
hindrances.
畏嘛。
They are not afraid of afflictions. because they are fearless. And in the wisdom of fearless, because you have wisdom, the wisdom of true emptiness, the wisdom of discernment, and the all-embracing wisdom of the Tathagata. So you have no fear whatsoever. You're completely fearless. That's called the wisdom fearless. The next one is the suffering fearlessness. You're not afraid of any suffering. So, in the wisdom of the self-mastery of the Buddha, there are 4 fearlessness, and this is on the ground of the cause. For example, when I hurt my leg, that was really suffering. My left leg, because I did too much in jumping and in my Vajrafist exercise. Although I didn't jump very high, not like when I was young, I jumped so high, like an arrow. I would flew like an arrow when I was young, but now, and before jumping, I hurt my knee joint. There were 4 tendons. 2 out of the 4 tendons were hurt, injured. So I went to see a doctor. Because on the joint there are 4 tendons and 2 of them were injured. And they said it takes time to recover. There was a sport doctor that checked on me, so it just takes time to recover. Oh, was it suffering? Yes, so much. Do you know how difficult it was to wear pants? I could not lift my leg at all. That was so hard. Do you know how hard it was to sit on the toilet? That did not matter. How I sat, it was wrong. It didn't work. And I couldn't get on bed because as soon as I touched the knee, it was so painful. So now I learned that I put my butt first on bed because I used to just climb on it just like that. Now I have to sit on bed first and then move the leg and then gradually scoot over to the center of the bed. Do you know how hard it is to go to the bathroom and how hard it is to wipe? Because I couldn't kneel. I couldn't squat. So a disciple, because the toilet is too low, so the legs were hurting. So Hanifa bought a cushion on it. So it helped greatly. So now I could sit on the toilet, and before I was squatting on the toilet because it was so low. So I felt like when I was a kid, sitting on a sitting on a like on a ditch, you know, holding on two sticks and water flowing underneath. And so that's very pleasant.
但是呢，完了以后啊，小心啊，你睡着了掉下来，因为变得很高啊。
But I had to be careful not to fall asleep and fall because it became tall, it became high, and then because of the legs, I couldn't wipe my behind, and nobody's helping wiping me to help it. So I still had to solve it somehow. That was suffering. It was so pain that I had a cold sweat. So was it suffering? Oh yes, absolutely. So I asked Vimalakirti, do you say it's suffering? And he replies, yes, suffering. Are you afraid of it? And Vimalakirti responded, if I were a human being, I would be scared of it. But I asked, but how come you're not afraid of it? Because we have no physical bodies. We don't get sick. So if you have no skin, how can you have hair on your body? There is a saying, the ambassador said, if you have no skin, how can you have hair? So if you have no form, then you have no illness. Because a human being has a physical body, that's why we have pain and suffering. But mentally, you should transcend it. So what is this suffering fearlessness, or fearless of suffering? I have enjoyed my suffering. How about you? Have you? Yes. Once you experience it, you would know what kind of suffering that is. This leg cannot bend at all, but this one is fine, so I can bend it. So bending 90 degrees is fine, but 30 degrees or 20 or 10, or if you want to have the lower leg to touch the upper leg, you need to be able to do that. So a small ailment can cause great suffering. You need to know that's because you have this physical body. That's why you will experience suffering. And the suffering is not only for you, but everyone, especially in old age. They have bone spurs, a bone spur in the neck spine, and pelvic. Like at old age, you sneeze and you break your rib bones. those things happen, you would know when you're old. And the pelvic bone, got the hip bone loosened, and then bone spur, shoulder pain, and would affect the whole body. So at that time I was complaining, and I said, oh God, when you created human beings, you should create a strong and robust body. But this kind of body creates lots of suffering to everybody. So what kind of God are you? You should have created a strong, healthy, and robust body, so that like when you drive and you're rear-ended, then you would have a whiplash, and that would take a long time to recover. See, this neck spine is really not very strong at all. It's not very, and also spine and joints. Look at Lian Yun. Lian Yun. He was crossing the lawn and then twisted his leg, and now his bone cracked. And Master Lian Chuan was taking a photo and then twisted her leg, and I was doing some martial art, and I tried to jump, and I thought I was only 18, because she always say I am 18, and I jumped twice. So this joint created lots of suffering this week. Oh. But then I thought everyone would experience it. So that's the wisdom of the nature of equality. You need to experience the suffering, and then you would know that your physical body is very fragile, very insubstantial. So therefore you need to be diligent in your spiritual cultivation. If you want to go to a better realm, you need to be diligent in your spiritual cultivation. You cannot fall into the 3 lower realms. You want to go to a better realm. If you go to the lower realms, your physical body is very fragile and insubstantial. So by knowing suffering, you would be more diligent. Therefore, you should not fear suffering. Then you would develop the fearlessness of suffering. So a great bodhisattva should have the fearlessness of suffering. The second one is the fearlessness of affliction. Like I just said earlier, because you have enough to eat and you have nothing to do, so you have lots of afflictions. But what are you afflicted about, and why are you afflicted? No need. Discard afflictions, cut it, stop it. As soon as you cut off afflictions, you're fearless of afflictions. Hey, everybody's the same, so what are you afflicted about? About money? You want lots of money, you want to win lottery, and if you don't get what you want, then you're afflicted. So why do you ask for it? No need. Because in human life, think about it, there's nothing to gain, nothing to lose. You will not gain anything. It's impossible for you to own anything. And you will not lose anything either. You will not lose your Buddha nature. So be mindful of nothing to gain and nothing to lose. So what is that to be afflicted about? Since you will not gain anything anyway, so why are you troubled? And you will not lose anything, so why are you afflicted? By being mindful of nothing to gain, nothing to lose, then you can cut off afflictions. So that's the fearlessness of affliction. And then the fearlessness due to wisdom. So this means you have gained the basic wisdom, the wisdom of true emptiness. And you also gain the wisdom of discernment. And how is that? You know the differentiations between sentient beings' spiritual roots. Like for Grandmaster, in one look, Grandmaster would know immediately if someone can be reborn in Pure Land or not. Or show me a photo. I can tell by looking at their face. And the great Bodhisattva can do that. And that's the wisdom of discernment. You understand all the differences. That someone still has something on their mind, or someone else has nothing on their mind, so he's a sage. If you still have afflictions in your heart mind, it would show on your face. And you can cut off your afflictions. And the wisdom, you know how to see, how to observe, and you can observe their qi, or subtle energy, or this person is destined to be reborn in the Pure Land, or this one will go to the hungry ghost or to hell, or this person has gained the wisdom of true emptiness or the wisdom of discernment, and you're not afraid of what you say on the Dharma throne. Doesn't matter what you say, back or upside down, they're all wisdom. This is called the fearlessness due to wisdom. And the last one is the fearlessness of hindrances. So do you have any hindrances? No, nothing. Are there any hindrances in the world? No. No hindrances whatsoever. For some people, karma appears, so hindrances here and there, but so what? When you cultivate spiritually until you reach the four fearlessness, which is the causal ground of Buddhahood, then one will not be afraid of suffering, hindrances, afflictions. And because you have wisdom, you comprehend the wisdom of true emptiness and the wisdom of discernment and the all-embracing wisdom of Tathagata. You know everything. So all hindrances are resolved. Sometimes, think about it. It's actually no big deal. Human life, right? Nothing to gain, nothing to lose. What have you
像我
gained?
现在师尊在开那个劳斯莱斯
Anything?
Maserati，
Now Grandmaster is
都是人家
driving
送的，
Rolls Royce and
我
Maserati.
从
They
来没
were
有买
all
过，
offered or given to me.
我也
I've never bought
我也
any of
我
them.
也舍不得买，但是
I
人家舍
wouldn't
得啊，
bear to buy them, but
那人家
other
舍得
people
我就
do.
开。
And because they do, so I'll just drive them.
我当然舍不得买啊，那么
Of
贵的东西，
course,
我真的没有买过东西
I
耶。
I wouldn't bear to
师
buy
尊真的
them.
没有买过东西耶，我真的
And
想一想，
Grandmaster
我自
never
己真的
buy
没有买过
anything.
东西。
Really, I think about it. I
你买
never
了什么
bought
东西？
anything. What have I bought?
没有哎，
Nothing.
妈妈装，人家做好就送来，对不对？
This
吃的
Lama
在庙里面，
robes were given
我
by
也不在
people.
外面吃，
I eat at
我
the
也不
temples.
花钱，
I don't
食
spend money and eat
就
out.
是庙里面有，
So for food, it's provided by
就
the
是人家
temple.
供养，
Clothing is
内裤
all offered by
是
people.
Morgan 买的，
My
内衣也是 Morgan 买
underpants and underwears
的，
were
衣
given by
是
Morgan.
供养我这个内裤、内
Morgan
衣，
offered
都是人家买
underwears,
买
underpants
送给
to
我。
me.
这个行车子是韩尼
And
玛买，
transportation
对不对？
cars were
住
offered
房
by
子
Hanifa.
其实也是
And my residences, my
人家买。
houses were also bought by other people.
都有人买给我，我真的没有花
So
钱。
other people
我
bought
唯一刷卡的地
everything for
方就
me.
是那
I
个
never
gas
spent any
station，
money. The
买了
only
gas，
time
I
or
buy
place
car,
I
go to
spend
the
money
gas
is
station.
at the gas
I buy
station.
了 gas， 就是这样子，
That's
唯一
all.
花钱的。Go back Taiwan, I just buy the water， 因为我台湾的自来水不能喝嘛，我只是买那个
Because we cannot drink the tap
去买
water
那
in
个
Taiwan,
水，
so I would buy a bottled water
就 buy the water。在
when
台
I'm
湾
in
买
Taiwan.
In United States, I buy the gas， 就花这2种钱，其他钱从来不花。表人家
That's
送的，
all. That's all I spend.
漂亮。
And my
以
watches
前那
were
个
given by people too. This is pure share, pure shoe.
那个于仙呐，于仙，
Erica would
他
say
接表，他接表，
that's
广东话是吧？
Patty
他接表
Philippe. Patty
他教
Philippe.
我的。
She taught me that.
这是中国大陆的这个
This was given by someone from
送给我
China.
的，他接表，他接表，他送我2个，一个是黄金的，一个是白金的。
She gave
黄
me
金、白金
two
的，全部都是
pure
钻的。
share. One in
带得
gold,
去吗？
one in
去啊，
platinum.
车子带得去吗？
So can I
我
bring
车
it
子
with
开
me?
劳斯莱斯，
No.
开劳斯莱斯在西
Can
方极
I
乐世界，
drive Rolls Royce to go to Sukawati?
不可能啦！
Impossible.
房子可以搬到西方极乐世界吗？那西方世界，
Can I move my
更
car
好
to
啊！那个房子，
Sukawati? Well, we have
亭台
better
楼阁，
things at Sukawati.
包括7重南德、
Oh, they have
7重
pagodas
罗
and
瓦、7重行
balconies
柱，全部是7宝所成。
and the trees, they're all made of 7 treasures and 8 meritorious water and gold sand. The ground is covered with gold sand. And you will have no elements whatsoever because then you can dip yourself in the meritorious water and all elements will disappear instantly. And you live in palaces made of 7 treasures, precious jewels, and you have whatever you wish for. So things in the Saha world are momentary, temporary, not permanent. That's why in samsara, you don't gain anything and you don't lose anything. You never really own anything. Like this watch, I don't know who it will belong to in the future. I don't even know. Nothing really belongs to you. So what is it that it's really yours? Nothing. So you have nothing to gain, nothing to lose. If you think about it, then you would have the fearlessness to the wisdom. You will never lose your Buddha nature. All you need to do is to maintain the clear light radiance in your heart mind. And that's about the four fearlessness. So today we talk about the four fearlessness. And then about the 18 uncommon merits of the Tathagata. That's spiritual cultivation of the Tathagata. So that's the non-leaking of the body, speech, and mind. That's all the wisdom cultivation of the Tathagata. Very marvelous, only belong to Tathagata, unique to the Tathagata. So the non-leaking body, speech, and mind. So all the thoughts, the speech are wisdom, and your actions and conduct are wisdom. So all of the body, speech, and mind are the actions of the wisdom. So this 18 uncommon merits only belong to the Buddhas. And the 10 powers, 10 observations. So the 18 uncommon merits actually is the total leakage, which means all faults, all flaws are completely leaked out, completely exhausted. About the 10 powers, that your eyes can observe, the ears can listen. So you have the transcendental power of the eyes, of the ears, and you know the spiritual roots of sentient beings, their past, present, and future lives. They are all included in the 10 powers. And you know all kinds of wisdom about the ultimate truth or non-ultimate truth. So the truth or the reality in the time dimension, like like say the rationale of the past will not apply anymore for the present time. Did I say something at the dinner table? What did I say? In the ancient time, you need to mourn for 3 years for your family members. So this is like the traditions. The norms. Oh, we have an ambulance? Morgan? Had to go to the hospital?
Oh, okay, 知道了。
Oh, okay.
中风啊，中风的先兆。
Had signs of stroke. Amitabha.
Oh, okay, 好，知道了。
Okay.
知道了。好。好，心宽。来。好的，好，谢谢你。啊，我们这里有医生。
Thank you. Oh, we have doctors here that can help everyone. That's how life is. So please take care of your body, because with having physical body, you would have all kinds of ailments. That's why ponder upon it. You really don't have anything. You don't gain anything. You don't own anything. That's why at the causal ground of the Buddhahood, they understand what is the reason, the correct reason and the incorrect reason in a certain time and spatial dimension. Like for example, in ancient time, people will mourn for 3 years for family members' death in the past, but nowadays, no way. If you do that, you would be fired from your work. So you cannot use the traditions or the custom from the past for the modern days. So you need to be able to be dynamic or flexible. So within time and space, then you have those reasonings or customs, but outside time and space, they don't apply. So these are about the Tathagata, so transcendent power of the divine eyes, divine ears, knowing the past, present, future, and lives, traveling, soul travel anywhere, can go to all the Dharma realms. Like you can move the Abhirati of Vimalakirti to Samsara, and you can move Samsara to Abhirati. So he can move things as he likes, and he can place it in his heart or let it out from big to small, small to big, can transform it. That's considered divine or transcendent travel. So the 5 transcendent powers are included in this. And the only transcendent power that's in Buddhism is called the transcendent power of complete or total leakage, which is unique to the Buddha. Other religions or faith believers would also have the other 5 transcendent powers, like psychic powers. So the 10 powers are to observe sentient beings. And the 4 fearlessness is when you reach Buddhahood. And the 18 uncommon merits talk about the total leakage of the Tathagata, that you have leak out, or you have completely exhaust all the faults and flaws.
尽无等等佛自在会，实力无畏，18不共。你们可以查一下这个实会，就知道什么是实力。
They nearly equal the wisdom of self-mastery, the 10 powers, the 4 fearlessness, and the 18 uncommon characteristics of the unequal Buddhas Asamasama. You can check Buddhist dictionaries for the details of this.